Royals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. It is a good day to be a Royals fan. The Royals have an 8-game lead in the Central, and they are 22 games above 500 after beating the Indians last night. And Johnny Cueto is here. He pitched 8 scoreless innings on Saturday. Today is his workout day. He'll be on the mound for the Royals on Friday in Toronto. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. Joel Goldberg and Jeff Montgomery are coming up. I think realistically, going into the trading deadline, fans are thinking, boy, if we could get somebody like Johnny Cueto or somebody like Ben Zobrist, wouldn't that be great? Well, Royals fans, you've got Johnny Cueto and Ben Zobrist.
Yeah, a wonderful opportunity for Royals fans to embrace this moment in their history. They are getting what exactly they need to help them down the stretch. Zobrist, the first time I saw these numbers, I was impressed with the walks. Okay, the runs batted in, the doubles. He fits right into this team. He's going to be a nice fit, plus giving these guys a break as they go to that promised land. They'll need some days off.
Sean Manaea and Aaron Brooks go to the Oakland A's, and this is a guy who has not just played 7 different positions in his career, he has started at 7 different positions in his career.
It takes a special mentality for a player to be able to start every day at different positions, and he brings a switch hitting ability from both sides of the plate. That's going to help. I would imagine Ned will use him mostly in left field, but he can play short, third, or second, first base too if they need him. He's a great fit and a wonderful clubhouse guy.
He will join the Royals on Thursday in Toronto. Joel and Monty had a chance to spend some time with Johnny Cueto in his first day with the Royals, and they'll talk about that right after this.
Joel Goldberg, Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery back again, and the Royals with a new addition to their clubhouse today.
Yeah, really nice to see Johnny Cueto get here and really kind of play this thing out. We've been waiting a while for this. Didn't know when it was going to happen. It finally happened over the weekend. He's very happy to join his club.
And so he was out working out, and then during batting practice, throwing with Edinson Volquez, talking with some of his new teammates. That's one of the fellow countrymen that he's next to there, Kelvin Herrera from the Dominican Republic. Now, we had the chance to catch up with Johnny for quite a while this afternoon, and we talked to him about his impressions of the Royals, a team he lost to back on May 19th.
Tengo que tirar por ahí y hacer mi out.
He says that when he went through the scouting reports, he noticed, this is a tough ball club, tough lineup, but it's also a big park, and if he executes his pitches, he'll get his outs.
Our translator, Pedro Grifol there. The Royals got him for 9 hits, most he's allowed on the season. His eyes really lit up, though, at the possibility of pitching at Kauffman Stadium instead of the small park in Cincinnati. What were your impressions?
Well, very outgoing guy, very confident guy, very flamboyant guy. As you can tell, maybe a little bit by that hairstyle, the dreadlocks, but I think he's going to like pitching in that ballpark, and even more so, I think he's going to like his defense behind him.
Yeah, he is going to have the defense, he's going to have the park, and you're right. He's got that confidence and swagger as he joins the first place Royals. Chris Young is on the hill. The Royals will go for the series win, 2nd of 3 with the Indians. Ryan and Rex are back with the call after this.
Royals have won 15 of their last 20 games. They have the largest lead in the major leagues, 8 games. And the last time the Royals had a lead this big was 35 years ago when they finished the 1980 season with a 14-game lead. And the assumption would be that the Royals are going to get even better with the addition of Johnny Cueto and Ben Zobrist.
Yep, a lot of smiles around that dugout, that clubhouse, that's for sure, because the players, they know indeed what they acquired. A solid ace.
Royals have the same lineup tonight as they had last night, which produced 9 runs, 11 hits, 2 home runs, and 3 of those runs in the very first inning. The Royals have scored 7 runs in the first inning over the last 2 games after getting 3 last night and 4 on Sunday against Dallas Keuchel. Tonight's opponent is Trevor Bauer, 24-year-old. The Royals are seeing him for the third time this year. The Royals are 1-1 in those 2 games against Bauer and the Indians.
He's got a fastball average at 92. He'll touch 95, 96. Slider, changeup, and a curve. He's given up 17 home runs this year. A key for him as young will be to keep the ball in the ballpark. 13 of those 17 home runs have been off of his fastball. So he's very aggressive with that pitch, likes to attack hitters with it. But you know, what the Royals like to do with those fastballs, turn them around.
Here are the Indians defensively. Roberto Perez is back at the plate tonight. Mike Aviles, the former Royal, was put in at second base last minute. Jason Kipnis becomes the DH. David Murphy was going to be the designated hitter, but he was scratched. He has been traded to the Angels. So Yan Gomes last night, Roberto Perez tonight for Cleveland. And our umpiring crew has the crew chief, Gary Cederstrom, behind the plate. Tom Woodring at first base. Eric Cooper at second. And Lance Barksdale at third. Alcides Escobar was 1 for 5 in last night's game.
Another thing Royals have to watch for is, of course, Bauer's a little bit wild at times. He's got 47 walks. That's tied with Volquez for most walks so far in the American League. But he does have a 227 average against. That's really good. He's 8th in the league in that department. So he's a guy they'll have to just figure out as they go. But, you know, they don't like to sit back and take pitches. That's one thing they know, and so does Bauer.
Well, we're getting used to it now. I think we can just assume now that when Alcides Escobar, it doesn't matter if it's the first pitch of the game, if he likes it, he's hacking. Where a lot of leadoff hitters will want to see a pitch. And now fastball in for a strike, and it's 0-2.
Likes to be aggressive. He likes to pitch inside. Some of those balls sometimes, though, they flatten out and they get hit.
Crack bat. This is Francisco Lindor. Close play. And Escobar is out. Escobar grounded out last night to begin the game, and then Mike Moustakas singled. Lorenzo Cain walked, and Eric Hosmer hit a 3-run home run. Moustakas 1 for 5 with that first inning single. Also had a line out to right later in the game. He has hit in 5 straight and is batting at .294. Takes a high changeup for strike 1.
Changeup's used about 10% of the time. 84 miles an hour he'll average on that. But that changeup, if it's located upstairs like that, it can get hit.
One and 2 on Moustakas. Bauer, just like last night's starter Cody Anderson, is hoping for a bounce back start. He got knocked around on Thursday against the White Sox. It was the 4th start this year where he's allowed 6 or more runs, and he tied a career high, allowing 3 home runs in that game.
And he's allowed at least 1 home run in each of his last 5 home starts. So he's a guy that's not afraid to challenge hitters. Talked with Mickey Callaway, his pitching coach, and he said that he doesn't want to take the aggressiveness away from Bauer by pitching inside, but he's got to have better mechanics. He can't let that shoulder fly open. He's got to go directly downhill, and so far we've seen him with a little downhill angle.
And it looks like there's a lot to his mechanics. There's a lot of moving parts. Slider and curveball are his out pitches. And he just missed with a fastball at 94. And Moustakas fills out the count with Cain on deck.
That's right where he wants to put it now. Lefties will tell you they like that ball down there. So if you told him he was going to get pitched down there, he would probably have turned on that.
Moustakas is right at 100 hits, which is 3 more than he had all of last year. That's the third baseman Urshela throwing out Moustakas. 2 down. Now the middle of the order with 2 down. Our most trusted players, brought to you by the most trusted brand, Honda. And here's what the middle of the order did last night in Game 1.
Any baseball team usually has your best run producers in those spots. And it's nice to see they're doing exactly what they're paid for. They're getting the job done. They're hitting it all over the place. They're not a one-dimensional pull type team. They spray the ball around and they frenzy hit. And those guys have been very powerful, and one of the reasons why they're averaging almost 5 runs per game.
That'll be back into the crowd. Nice catch by a fan who brought his glove. Indians pitched Kane very carefully last night, and Kane took a couple of walks. Also singled. He scored 3 runs. Also had an outfield assist in the bottom of the first inning. 0-2.
Got a couple of road warriors in Ned's lineup. Guys like to get the job done. Doesn't really matter to the players. You'll tell them those stats and they'll say, well, I hit this as well at home, don't I? Ooh, good break. Good spot.
Bauer 3 up, 3 down against the Royals. Chris Young will take the mound when we come back. Before the Royals came to town, the Indians were swept in 4 games by the White Sox, and they scored 5 runs in that series. A step in the right direction last night. They had 4 runs, 9 hits with 2 home runs, and Jason Kipnis was on base 4 times. And no leadoff hitter in the American League has been on base more than Jason Kipnis. We'll see how he and the Indians do tonight against Chris Young, who has been outstanding in 6 starts against the Central Division. Our key is driver's seat tonight. A 2.48 ERA for Chris Young against the Central.
And what's impressive along with those numbers is 209 average against. The hitters have a hard time with him picking up his deceptive delivery from that tall frame of his, hides the ball well, and lives up in the strike zone with his average fastball at 86. So he'll go 85 to about 90, but that's what he likes. He's got a very good slider that he'll mix in with it. So he's a fastball slider combination pitcher. There it is there, and he's got a changeup at about 79 that he'll use occasionally. He's a guy that relies on command and location. There's no doubt about it. when you don't have overpowering stuff. It's fun to watch him perform and get hitters out, but if you're a hitter, it's frustrating when you make outs and you're going back to the dugout after a 86-mile-an-hour fastball that you popped up. And when he's on his game, a lot of fly balls, a lot of pop-ups.
And the intrigue tonight is obvious. With Johnny Cueto here, the Royals need to make a move in their starting rotation. Cueto will start on Friday in Toronto. And it sounds as though those two guys next to Cueto, Giordano Ventura and Edinson Volquez, are in. Danny Duffy is in. So that leaves Chris Young and Jeremy Guthrie.
Yep. And internal competition is good. Make sure everybody's at their best. That's always the best competition at this level you can find. And then they just added a brother there. We've seen Ventura and Volquez, they're tight, but now with Cueto there and Volquez and Cueto being roommates back in the day, it's a reunion.
Kipnis is on for the 5th time in this series. So he adds to his batting average, 327 with that leadoff base hit. And we'll look at the Royals defensively tonight, presented by Ford, with Dyson in left, Kane in center. Got that 5th outfield assist in the bottom of the 1st inning last night. Rios in right, Moustakas, Escobar, Infante, Hosmer around the horn.
It's one of the best throws I've seen Lorenzo Cain make. He lined himself up perfectly. His arm slot was right over the top, and it was a perfect one-hop throw. You can't get any better than that. So fun watching this Royals team perform because they're fundamentally sound. They know how to play the game. They know how to hit their cutoff men. It really makes it easy to teach the younger audience that we have out there by watching these players.
Kipnis runs. Perez got a good pitch to throw on, and he got him. And it looked like Kipnis was just about to get his left hand on the bag, and Escobar applied a quick tag on his back. Terry Francona is not sure yet.
When you have a great throwing arm like Salvador Perez possesses, that makes up for any of the lapsed time. Nice tag. Escobar, see him coming in front of the base. Sometimes you can get that tag down on the guy quicker with a nice little sweep tag. Gets up there. Did he get his glove on him in time?
No challenge. So Kipnis caught stealing. 1 down in the 1st inning.
Thou shall not steal on Salvi.
1 out of every 3 is gunned down. It is 1-1 on the rookie Francisco Lindor, who had a 3-run home run in last night's game, turning a 9-1 game into a 9-4 game, and that was the final. Kipnis is gunned down for the 6th time this year. 2-2 on Lindor.
That's one thing you don't see very often, hitters facing Young squaring around a bunt. High fastball, tough pitch to get down on the ground. You can't bunt that slider. This kid's new.
Slider in the dirt. Sal down to first, 2 down.
Salvador Perez, man, is he good. I mean, just the way he blocks the ball, keeps it in front of him. That ball didn't bounce out 4 or 5 feet away where there was going to be a play at first. I mean, he really has a knack to turn that ball into a marshmallow when it hits his glove. Doesn't go anywhere.
Michael Brantley with 2 down. 1 for 3 with a couple of walks last night. Brantley is a .335 career hitter against the Royals, but this year the Royals have pitched him very well. He's hitting right around .240 against KC. Big breaking ball is outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Runners get on base against Young, they're going to steal. Over his career, they've had a 70%
success rate against him.
The ball is pulled deep and pulled foul.
However, this season, base runners have been successful just 6 out of 12 times. So he's done a better job. Of course, Salvador Perez is helping.
Our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard. The Royals pitching has really been on a roll lately. 2.29 ERA. That's the entire staff. The Royals are back to leading the league in ERA. And if you break the Royals down, starters and bullpen, the bullpen, this should come as no surprise over that 6-game stretch, their ERA is 0.72. Two on Brantley with Carlos Santana on deck. Royals have had a nice run lately with the starting rotation, going back to Saturday with Danny Duffy, Sunday Yordano Ventura and Edinson Volquez last night. 3 straight quality starts from the rotation. Into right center field. Michael Brantley is on with 2 down.
Batting fourth for the Indians, first baseman, number 41, Carlos Santana.
So 2 down to Carlos Santana. He hit one of the Indians' home runs last night. He had been in somewhat of a home run drought. He has 11 this year. And the home run last night was just his second in his last 87 at-bats. Homer to straightaway center field in last night's game against Volquez into the trees.
Brantley, 9 out of 10 in steal attempts this year. Wouldn't be surprised to see him go.
And there he goes. Throw to second. And this time Brantley steals second base. Salvador Perez has already gunned down Kipnis in the inning.
Tribe's got to be aggressive against Young. They got to find a way to get a lead and hold it. 7 straight losses here at home. No batting practice for them today. Terry Francona said, I always want you guys to show up and play. Sometimes it's a good mental and physical break for a team that's been scuffling.
Two and one. Santana's a .224 hitter altogether. And even worse with runners in scoring position. And that slider's in for a strike.
It's a beautiful pitch there. Ty Van Berkelio, in his 3rd year of the Cleveland Indians as a hitting coach, would like to see Santana make some more adjustments. Instead of swinging for the fences every single time you swing, sometimes, you know, you might want to pick a spot and try to shorten up your swing and knock the run in. And he's had a hard time with those adjustments this season. That's why he's hitting so low.
3-2.
As a hitting coach, it's a very difficult job, but you can't hit for the players. You can just help them mentally, mechanically if you can, although there's more mental work done than physical.
Now Santana walks to put 2 on for Brandon Moss.
Batting fifth for the Tribe, the right fielder, number 24.
So the caught stealing's big, as the Indians have had 3 base runners, but because of the caught stealing, first and second 2 down. They'll shift over to the right against Brandon Moss, who has 15 home runs this year.
He's had some really good success against Young. 5 for 17. 4 of those 5 hits are homers. Moss is a pull type hitter. He loves facing Young.
The runners go. The throw goes to second. Ball pops out of Escobar's glove. 3 stolen base inning for the Indians, who don't normally run a lot. Now 2 in scoring position for Moss.
Might be somebody out there saying, well, I wonder why he didn't throw for the lead runner. Well, lots of times you're going to take that second base guy because he's not as fast, and Salvador Perez does that by alerting the infielders where he's going to throw it. That's why there's somebody on base. But you see that pitch there? That's going to be a big pitch for Young against Moss. Those high fastballs, Moss tommyhawks. Breaking balls down.
Great save by Salvador Perez.
Moss, another guy struggling with runners in scoring position, just a 183 average. Salvi, great timing.
Just below the knees. So he continues to stay down on Moss. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Perfect spot. That's exactly where you want to stay with this guy. Borderline.
So there's the 4 home runs Hud was talking about, and one of those home runs was on June 4th, the last time Young faced the Indians. And now 3-2 with the rookie Giovanni Urshela next. Urshela has never faced Chris Young. Got him looking. And Brandon Moss can't believe it. That is the 103rd time that he has struck out this year. So the Indians get 2 hits. They get a walk. They get 3 stolen bases. And you add those numbers up, and it's 0.
Thank you for not swinging.
The Indians scoreless in the bottom of the 1st inning. Eric Hosmer, Kendrys Morales, Salvador Perez against Trevor Bauer, who got the side in order in the 1st. Eric Hosmer last night saw one pitch in the first inning and put it up into the bleachers in left center field for his 10th home run of the year. Finished the night with 3 hits, 3 runs scored, 4 RBIs. And he was able to check his swing. Lance Barksdale is the umpire at third base, and those hits give Hosmer a 9-game hitting streak where he's hitting .500.
And you want to know why he's been so productive? Don't look no further than the opposite field hits. Going the other way, staying up the middle, not trying to pull off of everything. He's very dangerous, and he's in this groove right now. He's in.
And, you know, he will take some wild rips sometimes, trying to hit the ball a long way, and that rarely works for him or anybody. That swing that he had in the first inning last night was as easy and as pretty as you're going to see, and boy, did the ball jump off of his bat.
It was a perfect swing on a fastball. You would teach that, if you could, to all the younger players. You'd say, hey, do you want to see how to stay inside the ball and how to hit it where it's pitched? Let's watch Eric Hosmer. Hands inside the ball, waited till the ball got back to the catcher's glove and just turned and exploded. Nice turn, controlled the front hip, that front foot of his, and there he is again, letting the ball travel deep towards the catcher's glove and flicking it out there.
That makes it a 10-game hitting streak. You know a guy has good balance. And Hosmer, I can't remember where it was, but I want to say we were in Texas. He hit a home run, and his balance was so good that if he didn't have to run the bases, with his follow-through, he could have stood there all night. And the same last night. Perfect balance after his swing and his follow-through.
It's fun to watch when these guys get in a groove.
Hosmer was the only Royal who had a bigger night last night than Kendrys Morales did. That is ruled a swing. Kendrys had 3 hits. He drove in 3 to put him back into a tie for the league lead with 68 RBIs with the Blue Jays' Josh Donaldson. Six, 5, 3 double play. 2 down. Mark your calendars for the 5th T-Shirt Tuesday coming up on August 11th. The Royals will take on the Tigers. The first 10,000 fans receive a blue 7th inning stretch T-shirt courtesy of Sprint. For tickets, go to Royals.com/T-Shirt Tuesday or call 1-800-6-ROYALS. The Royals will have a long homestand following this long road trip. Royals will play here again tomorrow. Then they'll go to Toronto for 4, Detroit for 3, and then the Royals will be home against the White Sox, the Tigers, and the Angels. Over the outside, and 0-2 on Salvador Perez. Sal was hitless in last night's game. He did have an RBI with a sacrifice fly. I was looking at the numbers today and kind of caught me off guard. You know, Sal is hitting about 175 in the last month. Pulls that just foul. I can still picture in my mind some big hits he's had in the last month, but if you add up all the at-bats, 175 in his last 31 games.
Now, we know he's an aggressive swinger, and so does his opponents. He only has 7 walks.
There's a good looking swing, but he'll line it to Moss in right field. 1 hit. Bauer gets a double play and faces only 3 in the second inning. was a 3-time player of the year. There's the straight steal of home against Andy Pettitte. 5-time All-Star. He will be the 26th member of the Royals Hall of Fame. We hope you'll join us as we induct Michael before the Royals-Angels game on Saturday, August 15th. Get to the ballpark early and join us as we celebrate Mike's career. Tickets at Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS. And I will always think of Michael when we are in this ballpark. It was the 1999 season, and Jeff King retired out of nowhere. And the Royals needed a first baseman. They didn't have a backup on the roster, a true backup. 0-2 on Urshela. So it was between Jeremy Giambi and Mike Sweeney. Michael ended up winning the job. But we were here in Cleveland, and Michael wasn't struggling, but he just wasn't hitting the way he wanted to hit. And Lamar Johnson was the hitting coach. And Lamar pointed out to Michael, you know, how big and strong he was. He said, you know, your 2-strike approach is so good. He would widen his stance, shorten his swing, and he was a very good 2-strike hitter with power. I mean, he wasn't just a slap hitter. And Lamar Johnson convinced Michael to begin his at-bat with his 2-strike approach. Widen out your stance. You're not going to lose anything. And his career took off, and it started right here in Cleveland.
So hardly any stride. Just good, solid base.
Didn't need it. Yeah. Didn't need it.
Way to go. Trust your hands. See, those are the mental things that a hitting coach can do for a player that makes a difference. At this level, there's not a lot of instruction, although nowadays there's a lot more instruction with these younger players, the way they rush up to the big leagues, but there's more on the mental side, especially for a veteran. A guy who's been around.
Michael also in this ballpark, and it's funny how you bring up a guy's name and memories start falling out of the sky that you wouldn't otherwise think of. But that same year, ironically, later in the season, the Royals came back here to Cleveland, and Michael was playing at an all-star level, and he had an RBI here in a game in Cleveland. He tied the American League record with an RBI in 13 consecutive games. Dyson in left field will take care of Urshela, tying Taffy Wright for the American League lead. Time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag KCDataStrongFan. You just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile.
11 straight games with an RBI.
13 consecutive games with an RBI.
Stay hot.
Tied that record here. Taffy Wright of the 1941 White Sox also had RBIs in 13 straight games. Not bad for a guy who, when the '99 season began, he was a third catcher on an American League team, which is rare. That's because the Royals couldn't trade him anywhere. And then Jeff King retires, and that was a life changer and a career changer for Mike Sweeney.
Did King just show up one day and say, I'm taking it to the house?
Yep. And we looked it up. His major league service time was 10.000. Coincidence or not?
No.
I was just curious.
No, he knew.
He looked it up.
He knew.
And he took it back to the ranch in Montana and called it a career.
Good for him.
And the door flung wide open for Mike Sweeney.
What, did he still have something left? How old was King?
Yeah, he did. He did. But it was clear that his heart wasn't in it as it once was. That was my first year with the Royals, so I was still getting my feet on the ground. But yeah, who would have thought that a first baseman retiring out of the blue was the catalyst for Mike Sweeney becoming a 5-time All-Star?
Yeah, talk about leaving your manager hanging. Right. Oh, you're afraid to give a little heads up. Nice pitch, yeah.
Roberto Perez, Indians' backup catcher, although he was the starter for quite a while when Yan Gomes was out with a knee injury. Hard to hit the ball with your eyes closed.
Yep. It's kind of swing Young wanted on that pitch. Come through 29 pitches it took him to get out of that first inning. Indians had him in trouble. He's able to get an excellent strikeout on Moss. He'll take another one here.
Young has recorded 5 outs tonight, 3 on strikeouts, all with the slider.
It's a pitch that he's bringing in a little bit more. Keep him off of that high fastball. And if he has command with that particular pitch, that slider there, he can go, 5, 6 innings if he's effective with it. Location, it's a big breaker.
Base hit for Michael Bourne. He's on with 2 down. He has good numbers in the past against Chris Young and adds to that tonight. Isn't it interesting, a guy like Chris Young who just defies the laws of the radar gun and will give most hitters fits with as many innings as he's pitched. If you compare him to other current major leaguers, he has one of the lowest opponents' batting averages. I mean, up there with guys like Clayton Kershaw. But then there's a few guys who just really see the ball well out of his hand and have very little trouble with him. Mike Aviles was not in the original starting lineup, but when David Murphy was scratched, and Murphy is said to be on his way, maybe not right now, but eventually to the Angels in a trade. So Murphy was scratched. Murphy was going to be the DH. Jason Kipnis became the DH, and Aviles is at second base.
Well, I only got traded one time in season, and it's exciting. It's interesting when you're going to move from one team to the next. You're going to meet new friends, and it's the same game, but it's an exciting time in your career.
Now Murphy's bounced around a little bit, not a lot. Johnny Cueto's been traded from the only organization he's ever played with.
Yeah, and that's a big difference there. That's the eye-opener when you got to say goodbye to all your longtime friends.
Michael Bourne got a good jump, and then that pitch is in the dirt. The Cleveland Indians have 4 stolen bases in the first 2 innings.
Yeah, and Chris Young will look up there and say, well, there's no runs. That's all he cares about. His big frame, he's not going to pick guys off. Lets him steal. Focuses on that hitter. 2 outs here.
Three and 1 on Mike Aviles. 0 for his last 14, and Joel shared with us the last time we saw the Indians last month. He has a lot on his mind. One of his twin daughters has been diagnosed and is being treated for leukemia. And the Indians, Mike Aviles would be a valuable player for a team right now, but the Indians have said with his daughter being treated at the Cleveland Clinic, they will not trade him. His being here with his daughter is more important than improving the roster. And they made that very clear to allow Mike to take that off of his mind and his family take that off of their minds. Mike Aviles, at least unless he tells them it's okay, is going to remain an Indian.
Yeah, and I talked to him before the first game about his daughter. He had a big smile on his face, and he said everything is so much better than it was earlier in the season. She's responding to her treatment. She's happy. She's not in pain. So that's a great report.
5 base runners for the Indians in an inning and 2/3, and no runs. And now one of the league's best is at the plate. He was already having a very good series. Jason Kipnis has come to the plate 6 times in these first 2 games, and he has reached 5 times. He singled in the first inning. And Young in there with strike 1 with a fastball.
He has a simple approach to hitting. He doesn't do a lot with his hands. He doesn't have a lot of movement. He's short to the ball. but his bat head stays in the hitting zone a long time. That's why he's able to get more wood on it. He's got a good level swing. He doesn't try to overswing. He hits it where it's pitched. And he lets the natural ability of just swinging easy take care of the extra power by catching the ball underneath it. Doesn't worry about hitting homers. Those just happen. And he knows himself. He knows what kind of hitter he is. And he's experienced failure like a lot of the other hitters do in the league. He's had a couple of down years, and he's had a couple of real good ones, and he's riding the wave this year.
Two balls, one strike. And it's been about a 2-month wave. He's been hitting right around 400 over the last 2 months. After a slow April. Now he finds himself third in the league with a .327 batting average, and he is among the league leaders in several offensive categories. So this is a big out for Young with 2 on, 2 out in the second inning. Pitch number 52 tonight, and it's up and away, 3-1.
Yep, they're really being patient, being selective, and waiting Young out.
The best in the American League, 4th best in the majors in these situations against a team that is dead last in the majors. Full count.
That almost looked like a cutter there. See maybe a little more depth to it.
Warren at second, Aviles at first. They are running, and Kipnis fouls it away. Similar to last night's game, Edinson Volquez in the first 3 innings was in and out of trouble. And the Indians, they had 8 base runners, 8 in the first 3 innings, and scored 1. And then Volquez really hit his stride in the next 3 innings. Runners take off again, and Kipnis fouls it back again.
Cleveland Indians, they know all about the arms in the outfield of the Royals. Third base coach Mike Sarabaugh, he knows it too. All third base coaches, they know the strengths and the throwing ability of all the outfielders in the league. It's their job.
Hold foul, and we'll do it again. A little guy with his Hosmer jersey with Dad. Brought his glove.
Good grab.
Nice work.
Special moments happen every night at a ballpark.
Father and son bringing their gloves to the game. You can take that out in the parking lot after the game and play catch. Line to right, Rios is there. And that's the way it's been going for the Royals. And that's the way it's been going for the Indians.
With them.
have had 5 base runners. Our Toyota League leaders, Trevor Bauer has really struggled at home. And if you break him down home versus road, there is a 3.69 differential between the two. That is the largest differential in the major leagues. ERA at home is 6.16. You put him on the road and he's one of the league's best, 2.47. Right behind him on that list is Kyle Loesch. Kyle Loesch at Miller Park this year has an 8.15 ERA. Yikes.
So the big question is why? And sometimes those can't be answered. Outside of Bauer, finding too much at the plate, trying to challenge hitters inside. The ball ends up running back over the plate. And left-handers, they're not messing around, but neither are righties. 10 homers off of right-handed bats and 7 off of left-handed bats.
A reminder as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Strike to Omar Infante. He hit his first home run of the year last night in the second inning.
Yeah, so far, Bauer's hitting his spots. Staying out of the middle.
Into the right field corner. That's a long run for Moss, who makes an outstanding running play.
I guarantee you off the bat Infante was saying, all right, there's my double. Would have been his 21st. But that's just a great break on contact by Moss, and really he outran the ball. The ball hung up, had a little bit of air underneath it. Excellent job of getting to it in a straight line.
Two down to Gerard Dyson. Dyson was hit by a pitch last night and he tripled. In regard to Ben Zobrist, the Royals say he will begin by playing mostly in left field. So that affects Gerard Dyson and Paulo Orlando, who have been filling in for Alex Gordon. Did foul ball get him above the knee?
It got him again.
The ball hit him in left field last night. Somewhere between the belly button and the kneecaps.
That's right.
Look at Perez right in the center of the mask.
You could tell a difference with those hockey style masks with the sound, and it's so. And imagine that if we could tell a difference, your ears can tell the difference when you get your bell rung like that. Those other masks, they don't have any protection, plastic on the sides. See Cedarstrom, he has one of those masks, but you look at Cedarstrom, you see those? Those are like little shock absorbers right there. Those absorb the blow, supposedly. Wilson came out with that mask a couple years ago.
2-2.
It really can ring your bell, and but there's some catchers that are comfortable with it.
Dyson is down, and that's 3 strikeouts for Trevor Bauer.
team in a couple of days. Ned Yost talking about adding yet another weapon to the mix.
Well, he brings versatility. He's a two-time All-Star, tremendous switch hitter, really good run producer from both sides of the batter's box. Can just play multiple positions. So he just gives us a lot of versatility. He's definitely got a winner's attitude and tremendous work ethic, and he's going to fit in great with this team.
And had a chance to visit with Ben Zobrist today via phone call with some of the media. And first off, he is HUD's kind of player, a guy that plays so many positions. It has shown up in the wins above replacement since 2009. He is so valuable. Those are some big-time names that he is up there with. Omar Infante makes the play. I like what he said, a couple of comments, guys. First off, about being told a bunch of years ago by Joe Madden that he would be a utility guy. And so he thought, well, then I'm going to do my best to play every single day. And so that's what he does. Jumps into so many different positions. It'll be mostly left field for now, as Ryan mentioned. Of coming to the Royals, guys, he said, I'm excited because I'm joining a team that is already great, and he sees a lot more wins coming in the future. Said, they're so good, I'm just going to try to contribute and not screw it up. Now, as for that little rivalry with the A's, he was on the other side of that. His comment sounding a bit like a politician. He said, obviously they've got some moxie. We had some interesting conversations from across the field. But then he went on to say they're a tough team, very tough to play against. Every guy has a tough at bat. They are fighters, and not just in terms of punches, but in the way that they go about their business every single day. Another ball to Omar Infante. And so, very excited. And then, guys, sometimes people wonder, well, what takes a while to get these players there? In the middle of the conversation, he was interrupted by his daughter, who was kind of nagging him to do something. These guys have families. They've got a lot going on. He was in Los Angeles when he was talking to us a couple of hours ago. Has to fly back to the Bay Area just to get his passport. The game here tomorrow is at 12 o'clock Eastern. And so he'll get that taken care of, get that passport, meet the team in Toronto, HUD, and very excited to be joining a contender.
Yep, and one other thing, he's got postseason experience. Been to the World Series. Good report, Joel.
Yeah, his career was just getting started when the Rays going to the postseason almost every year was just getting started. Ned reminds us that he's a two-time All-Star. He's just not a guy who can play a lot of positions and switch hit and help a team out on the bench and on the field. But this is a guy who's hit 27 home runs. He's had two other 20 home run seasons. He has driven in 91 twice in his career. So he may not have a regular position, but he is a regular player, an irregular regular, if you will. Two and two on Santana.
It'll be fun to see him in that lineup, and for a manager loves a guy like that, because if he has any questions about any other of his position players, he's got a guy he can go to. Young, how about that quick inning?
He needed that. After 57 pitches in the first two innings, he only needed 9 to get through the third.
Ooh.
Internet, the Uverse revolves around you. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. By Panera Bread, avoid the lines. Order online with rapid pickup at delivery.panerabread.com. And by your Midwest Ford dealers, visit your MidwestFordDealers.com. No score at the end of 3. Second time through for the Royals. Alcides Escobar grounded out to short in the first inning.
Royals don't have a hit. They got to get on the board.
Well, there's David Murphy, rumored to be traded to the Angels. The Angels are in Houston. I'm guessing there aren't many direct flights from Cleveland to Houston in the evening, so he's still on the roster. There isn't time for the Indians to make a roster move, so in respect to the Angels, if the trade is accurate, they took him out of the lineup, but still available.
Yeah, that's highly unusual. Whenever you get traded by a team, that means that they don't want your services anymore. So usually you pack up your stuff and you leave and you say, thanks a lot.
That's a little rough, isn't it?
Huh?
They don't want your services anymore?
Well, you know what?
It's a trading deadline and they're out of contention.
But it all depends on the player and the organization. Obviously, Murphy has a good relationship with his manager. And probably asked Terry if he could stay on the bench, if that is the case. But I haven't seen that too often. A guy that gets traded and he's in uniform that day. And he's a good guy too. He's carefree, fun. He gets it. Enjoys being a big leaguer.
Broken bat.
I said Bauer hadn't given up a hit yet to a Royal. I was wrong. Hosmer got one. Nice base hit to left field. But Bauer is definitely commanding his fastball much better than he has in the past here at home. I think he realizes that his team desperate, 7 home losses. They haven't had 8 since they were back in their old ballpark.
Yeah, way back in their old ballpark.
75 maybe?
1975.
Yeah, I mean that's not good. So Bauer taking it on his shoulders to say, all right, I'm the guy who's got to hold this tough lineup down. And he has the ability. And he's hitting it so far. It's all over the 4 quadrants of the strike zone.
He has retired 9 of the last 10. He has struck out 3 of the last 4. That's well hit into left center field, but slicing, and that helped out Brantley. 2 outs in the 4th inning. All right, Jayhawk fans, KU Day is coming up on Sunday, August 16th. The Royals will be hosting the Angels. The first 3,750 fans who bring their KU Day ticket to the designated table will receive a limited edition crimson and blue Royals style cap, courtesy of Rally House and Fox Sports Kansas City. There he is, Mr. Jayhawk right there.
Where's your cap?
He had that cap on last night. Moss back and makes another very good play. Did he hang on long enough? They're going to say no.
Keep going, Locaine.
Lorenzo Cain ends up at third base with 2 down. Well, in football, the ground cannot cause a fumble, but in baseball, the wall can cause a drop.
Oh, too bad. Moss took a great route to this ball. And he turned on contact and ran. Look, he's not even looking at the ball. He looks once, looks twice. Oh, that's really nice. And then, too bad. Hang with him. Oh, he was all over that baseball. Great effort. That is not easy, folks, especially when you turn on contact and aren't watching the ball.
That's not a catch. It took about 3 or 4 steps.
It looked like to me that he had it all the way, and then when it popped out, I think it's what Cedarstrom's saying.
Well, I know that, but I mean,
Yeah, but
I mean, how
maybe you gotta control it.
he did look like maybe he was trying to open his glove when he was running to let it settle into the pocket a little bit deeper. So maybe they felt like he never fully had control of it.
Well, Francona's trying to talk Cederstrom into doing an umpire's review, and he's going to win it. It's because he's very political. He didn't go out there yelling and screaming at Cederstrom. He just said, hey, it'd be nice if you guys would look. Now, Lorenzo Cain saying, now, why'd you let him talk you into doing that? Take a triple away from him.
Okay, this is an Indians challenge. Now, if he had stuck his hand in his glove and he was making the transition, he certainly had control of it long enough. But
it would be a voluntary release, we call that.
I don't know if he had, as we get a closer look at it. Yep.
Locaine will take his 5th triple. He earned it. Hit the ball a long way. 375.
So the call is confirmed. The Indians lose their challenge with 2 down in the 4th inning. And for Lorenzo Cain, that is extra base hit number 38 this year. And the reason that's significant is that ties his total from last year. And we still have 64 games to go. Strike to Hosmer.
Haas has been really good in these situations. 2 outs with runners in scoring position. Good. 283. Bauer has 7 wild pitches. That's the most on the Tribe pitching staff. Lorenzo Cain can be alive.
Just over Lindor, and with 2 down and a runner in scoring position, the Royals come through again. They lead the league in that category. So a ball that was in Brandon Moss's glove for about 3 steps popped out when he hit the right field wall. Eric Hosmer goes the other way, and the Royals grab the game's first lead.
That look on Moss's face explained the whole Cleveland Indians last 2 weeks since the break. Wow, what else can go wrong? Hosmer, give him the credit. He fought that fastball off on his hands right over Lindor, the leaping Lindor. Beautiful timing. Nice swing. That is clutch. Putting the Royals on the board.
And that's well hit into right field. Easier play for Moss. This time the ball sticks in his glove. With 2 down, Cain triples. Hosmer drives in his 5th of the series, and the Royals lead 1-0. as he has 54 RBIs against Cleveland, the most for him against any one team. University of Kansas Hospital injury report. This is bad news for the Milwaukee Brewers. Adam Lind has been out with some lower back tightness. He's had a lot of back problems going back to his days with the Blue Jays and all that time on the turf. Now the Brewers aren't going anywhere. They are 21 and a half games out in the National League Central, but Adam Lind is a hitter that a lot of teams were looking at, and perhaps ball's hit deep but foul, and perhaps the Brewers could get a prospect or two for Adam Lind, but it appears that that could be on hold, and it also appears that the trade is now official. And David Murphy is saying goodbye to all of his former teammates. Reports are that he is on his way to the Angels there in Houston. The Angels put Matt Joyce, a left-hand hitting outfielder, on the disabled list today with a concussion. And even before that, they've been looking for another left-handed bat.
Yeah, I was wondering why he was in there in uniform. Obviously, it hadn't gone through. It wasn't official. But you know what? Baseball's a business, and most players know that are veteran guys have been around, like Murphy. And they tell you, hey, look, we made a deal and we traded you away. You say, hey, thank you for the opportunity you gave me. All I wanted was a uniform and a chance. Thank you. And you move on. And then you're smart if you say that. Even if things didn't go your way and maybe you think that they weren't good to you, you take the political high road every time because it's a small fraternity. And if you ever want to get back in the game, you want to leave any kind of door open. You're always going to say the politically correct things. And there are some guys that don't, that air their dirty laundry in front of the general manager or the manager, and it ends up coming back and biting.
He also goes from last place to first place. You kind of soften your stance. I mean, last inning you're saying he should be out of here. I mean, the team doesn't want his services anymore.
No, but he just found out. Obviously, he shook hands and left, so maybe the deal wasn't done yet.
Or maybe there are no more flights and he just wanted to hang out with his teammates for a few innings. Urshela is 0 for 2. 2 down in the fourth inning. DraftKings gives us the players to watch. Go to DraftKings.com, enter the promo code BRoyal. Now Cetus Escobar, 0 for 2. He's on that list. Michael Bourne, 1 for 1 with a stolen base. And now Roberto Perez. Did he go? Sure looked like he went for it. Tom Woodring, the first base umpire, says no.
To me, like he committed.
Two and 0. Perez struck out in the second inning. .29 in the first, 28 in the second, and look at this turnaround. That's not going to make a pitcher very happy. Right in the middle of his motion, Salvador Perez, and say, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, now you don't have to grant time.
Lorenzo Cain runs to the gap. Roberto Perez is down a 10-pitch inning for Chris Young. He has gotten the last 7 Indians hitters.
he uses his motor. And every baseball player and athlete's motor are their legs. You got to get the motor going. And in Lorenzo's case, he's got all 4 gears to the motor. He uses them when he needs them, but he doesn't always go into 4th gear unless he doesn't have to. He's extremely blessed. He takes great routes, and that's one of the reasons why he's in line for hopefully his first Gold Glove.
Only Kevin Kiermaier of the Rays has more putouts per 9 innings. Just showed you David Murphy headed to the Angels in a trade. The Angels also picked up David DeJesus, the former Royal, and they got Shane Victorino yesterday.
We got a whole new outfield to go along with Trout,
who's out with a wrist injury right now. He's going to get an MRI.
Yeah, did you get a chance to see that play on highlight? Yeah, he turned it over and he lost his glove and everything, and it looked like he came up and he had a bad injury. The ball coming in on the ground. I didn't realize that. Must be a lot more going on than we know about. You lose that guy, you're in trouble. Talk about a 1-2-man wrecking team. The Royals, excuse me, the Angels have.
Shattered bat, and Aviles throws out Salvador Perez.
The hitter for the Royals.
Royals will be out of town on Saturday, but we hope you'll stop by the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum for the 2015 Heart of America Hot Dog Festival, presented by Hy-Vee, Pepsi, and Farmland. You can spend a day at the museum, and it features live music, games, and appearance from Slugger. It's a family-friendly event. Plus, you'll taste some of the country's most famous ballpark hot dogs, including the return of the signature Monarchs dog. And tickets start at just $10. All proceeds benefit the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. Rios with a little half swing, and Aviles will throw him out. Rios is 0 for 2. 2 outs in the 5th inning.
For Kansas City now batting, number 14 Omar Infante.
Omar Infante thought he had a double, maybe a triple in the 3rd inning when he lined one toward the right field corner, but Brandon Moss made a very nice play on him.
There might be some fans out there that when they heard that the Royals acquired Zobrist, thinking, well, where's he going to play? Second base? Well, I think they're going to have to really study that, because Infante has meant a lot to the team defensively. He's making some great plays out there. He's getting some big hits. So like Ned said in his pregame, he expects to see Zobrist in left more.
Camden Yards. This is Chris Davis, and this is his second home run of the game. The Orioles lead the Braves 5-2. That's Nick Markakis having the ball sail over his head. The former Baltimore Oriole making his return to Camden Yards. You know, the Royals have the biggest lead in the major leagues at 8 games. Do you know the Yankees are second? They have a 7-game lead over the Orioles and the Blue Jays. So that's a big game for Baltimore. They're falling behind quite a bit. Michael Bourne is 2 for 2 tonight and 8 for 13 against Chris Young.
He just has a nice level swing, and he's looking up in that zone. There it was. A little fastball up, and just short and quick, and got a little reaction out of Young saying, ooh, I better chuck and duck on that one.
Mike Aviles walked in the second inning against Young. Bourne has stolen a base. The Indians have stolen 4, and they did all that in the first 2 innings.
With that high fastball that Young throws a lot of, he doesn't give up too many ground ball double plays. He's only induced 1 this year. He's got an idea that Bourne will be going.
And there he goes. And Mike Aviles with a wide open right side tried to poke it through. Michael Bourne probably had second base stolen.
Hit and run could have been on.
Well, if it was, Bourne didn't know. He had his head down the whole way.
That's, yeah. I mean, he looked like he was going for a straight steal, but we just don't know that for sure. If indeed that was the case, then Avila shouldn't have swung. Let him steal the bag. Right-hand side of the box, you can see it. You can see the runner going a lot easier than the guy hitting the left side. Your peripheral can't pick it up that well from the left side.
And now bunted foul by Aviles, who has 2 sacrifice bunts this year. Bourne does not have a big lead. He is not running. Alex Rios to the line in right field. 1 down. Coming up in a little more than a month. Great event at Kauffman Stadium. Fox Sports Kansas City invites you to join current and former Royals players on the field August 31st for Diamond of Dreams. You'll enjoy a delicious menu from local restaurants, live music from the American authors, and a fireworks show, and it's all for charity. You mingle with current and former Royals right on Kauffman Stadium, and you can buy those tickets now at royals.com/Diamond of Dreams. Wonderful event. There goes Bourne. The Royals pitch out. The throw is to the third base side of second base, and Bourne is in with his second stolen base of the night. That's 5 for the Indians.
Just because you get a pitch out and a clean path doesn't always mean you're going to put that ball where you want it. Salvi pulled the throw, had plenty of time. And he knows he just, release point wasn't where he wanted it. Would have had him with the ball out over the bag.
Season high 5 stolen bases for the Indians, and the most stolen bases allowed by the Royals in 3 seasons. Kipnis has single to right. He has line to right, and that line out to right in the second inning was a big out. Indians had 2 on 2 out. The count was 3-2. Bourne and Aviles were running, and Aviles couldn't hit it any harder, but he hit it right to Rios. And that ended the inning. Now Bourne to third, and Perez, and the ball got away from Moustakas. Michael Bourne will score to tie the game.
Just the second error all year on Sauer. Good try, but see, the Cleveland Indians are doing all they can to try to manufacture a run, and sometimes that happens. Although that throw was a good one, sometimes when it gets tangled up with the tag and the runner's feet, that happens.
Two and two on Kipnis.
Ball was into the sliding runner. A little bit too much for Moose to lean over and without getting cleated. Did all he could.
Second hit for Kipnis tonight, and the 6th time he's been on base. That is 6 stolen bases, by the way, for the Indians. That's the most the Royals have allowed in a game since 2002.
Well, we talked about how successful he's been over the last couple of months, and it's because he keeps the bat head in the zone a long time. Watch this. This is what I mean. Okay, see how he's able to keep it in there, and he just stays with it, and he just sticks it out there. It was off the end of the bat. A little booty knock, but he was able to keep that barrel in that strike zone.
Strike two, Lindor. He is 0 for 2. Most stolen bases for a big league team this year is 7. Arizona Diamondbacks have accomplished that. Franklin Morales is getting ready to warm up in the right field bullpen. Number 45, Franklin Morales, as he gave up number 47 to Johnny Cueto. One and two on Lindor. Chris Young with 90 pitches, paying the price here for the first 2 innings. Kane makes the play in center field. 2 down.
Kane had a long way to go. Escobar was playing a double play depth, so he couldn't get a good jump. Lorenzo Cain, he's the quarterback out there. Watch him calling for it. He's making sure everybody out there knows that he's got it. He has priority over the corner outfielders and the shortstop and second baseman, because everything's in front of him. And what the converging players do is they all go after it, but they don't call for it until they hear from Kane. If they don't hear from Kane, then somebody's got to catch it. Those are tricky plays.
One on Brantley, who singled in the first inning, stole 2 bases, and was left at third. And is 1 for 2. Two balls and 1 strike. So there you go. 29 in the first, 28 in the second. So that's why even with an efficient third and fourth innings, Young is moving up on 100 pitches in the fifth inning.
He had a hard time commanding the first couple innings. Guy kept him off the board, and they were doing a lot of fouling off. They were taxing his pitch count.
Brantley walks. And that is number 3 for Chris Young, and that will be it. So Carlos Santana, the switch hitter, coming up. And Santana has hit all 11 home runs as a left-hand batter. So Ned Yost wants him to hit right-handed. Franklin Morales will be a Chevy call to the bullpen. The Indians have 2 on, 2 out. His last hitter, Michael Brantley, and he's coming up on 100 pitches. So Ned Yost with a rested bullpen will bring on Franklin Morales. We'll remind you to vote for the Royals Player of the Month at rallyhouse.com. You'll be entered to win a majestic prize pack from Rally House. Eric Hosmer has driven in the Royals run tonight, 5 in the series. And now number 45, Franklin Morales. He has inherited 17 runners this year. 3 have scored. The Royals are 5th best in the American League in stranding inherited runners. Johnny Cueto is now number 47. So here's what we were talking about. That's why Ned Yost made this change. Young getting close to 100 pitches. Santana would have batted left-handed, where he has all 11 home runs against Young. They're going to move him over to the right side, where he has yet to hit a home run, and he has Kipnis at second base and Brantley at first.
Good move by Ned. So that's part of the preparation work the manager has before the game. He goes over the lineup cards. He sees his numbers with his bullpen guys, their numbers, their bullpen guys, and versus each hitter. And so he makes some mental notes of that and probably some physical ones. Oh, that's a tester.
No throw. Bases loaded, 2 down.
Morales has got 2 really nice pitches. A fastball, he'll go 90 to 95. You've seen, but he's more comfortable around 92, 93. and he's got a great slider. That ball was just topped by Santana, and you're going good when you get hits like that.
Kipnis at third, Brantley at second, Santana at first, and now Brandon Moss. And while we're at it, Brandon Moss has done better against lefties as far as average goes. Mike Moustakas backs out to the grass and makes the play. It is a foul ball catch. The Indians get a run on the throwing error by Perez, and we're tied at 1 at the end of 5. Sonic slam inning. Our contestant is Julie Keelig from Lee Summit. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Julie wins $900. If the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Julie wins $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals. The Royals have scored a run tonight with one of their specialties, and that is with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position. The other specialty is scoring right after the opponent scores. And the Indians just got a run in the bottom of the 5th. And Trevor Bauer is pitching with a 1-1 tie. And Dyson bunts it foul off to the third base side. He struck out looking against Bauer in the 3rd.
You know, a bunter is going to be bunting. You throw that high fastball.
That's what Dyson got and lost the bat. Two on Dyson. Through the first 5 innings, the Royals have left 1 on base. The Indians have left 7 on base. Bauer strikes out his 5th. It's the 2nd time he's gotten Dyson. 1 away in the 6th inning. So the Indians have had way more scoring opportunities than the Royals have. Even last night, with the Royals winning 9-4, the Indians left more runners on base than the Royals did. On down to Alcides Escobar. He is grounded to short and struck out. Fastball at 93 in for a strike.
Perez has taken a couple shots to his head tonight. He took out a foul tip, and then Dyson And the last little backswing there followed through and clunked him. Fortunate to stay in there, but it's a couple hard hits.
And now Escobar down on strikes. That's 6 for Bauer. Remember, the Royals and Johnston's have teamed up to provide the only officially licensed American League Championship fan collection with rings, necklaces, cufflinks, key rings, and more to relive last year's 8-0 postseason sweep. Johnston's has crafted the championship rings of more leagues than any other company, so get your piece of postseason history today. Royals.com/fan-rings. That play will be made by Mike Aviles, and that is a very fast top of the 6th inning for Trevor Bauer. Ohio. Chris Young went 4 2/3 innings. He only gave up 1 run. Here are the sprint cuts of the game.
Boy, to have that throwing arm like that sure does help out the pitcher. And also soft hands like that. Salvi, framing ability, you name it, he's got it. And you know, sometimes when Salvi's not going good offensively, you don't hardly notice because of the other side of the ball that he does when he catches. He's fantastic. And it's easy to overlook his offense, but he does so much for the team behind that plate. Good as gold.
Ryan Madsen, a Chevy call to the bullpen. He'll get Urshela, Perez, and Bourne.
And you just saw Morales in there. His opponent's average under 200. Madsen's opponent's average under 200. These guys are hard to hit. They got good stuff. Oh, man, how about that one?
Urshela's on for the first time. 3rd time tonight. The Indians have had the leadoff man on.
True definition of a chop knock there. Had him fooled, hit it off the end of his bat, but just bounced it good enough.
You know, I'll add to your point. Talk about the low opponent's batting average. Chris Young's opponent's batting average was 209 when the game began. So you had Chris Young, Franklin Morales at 197, Ryan Madsen at 181. Those are 3 guys who were not in the Royals' plans when spring training began. And if you're talking about some of the stories that have gotten the Royals to 22 games above 500 and 8 games in the lead in the American League Central. There are 4 pitchers that were not part of the plan at all when spring training began. Chris Young, who signed in the middle of spring training, Franklin Morales, non-roster invitee, Ryan Madsen, non-roster invitee, and we wish the best to Joe Blanton, who was designated for assignment today to make room for Johnny Cueto. Those are 4 guys that the team was planning to use other options. And where would the Royals be right now? They might still be in first place. They might still be above 500. But where would they be without Chris Young, Franklin Morales, Ryan Madsen, and Joe Blanton?
They wouldn't be as far ahead in first place. Okay, I can tell you that. And it's not just they're just 4 guys. These guys are veteran guys, too. They have a lot of experience. Now, just because they missed some time, and for some of them, Blanton, 3 years, you know, Madsen missed a year or so, and Morales was the starting pitcher for another team. But these are all veteran guys that have risen to the occasion of the energy level of that championship team they're playing for. That's a good example of that, how they said, wow, look, we're on a team that's going places. We've got to perform, and they're doing it great. They have good stuff, though. Got it.
Look at Salvador Perez. Gets Urshela with the worst slide in the history of the Cleveland Indians, and that's a long history. But even with a perfect slide, Urshela is out.
Well, you got to give him a little credit for trying to be aggressive on the bases. I'm sure that they had a meeting before the game, the Indians, about taking advantage of Young and steals, but that ball bounced right up. Again, Salvi keeping the ball in front of him. That's what that's a byproduct of. His fantastic technique of blocking the ball and having the ability to keep it in front of him. That's why he was able to perform that. He's just so good at that. Great pitch. Boy, that's some 95 with some hair on. Good tailing sinking pitch.
You know, there aren't many catchers in the game that have an arm like Salvador Perez. We know that. But there are a lot of catchers who do have a strong arm. I don't know how many guys can go out in front of home plate and grab the ball with their bare hand out of the air like Salvador Perez can and still have that much arm behind it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean, sometimes it ends up with an off-balance throw, a wrong foot throw, and you don't get much on it. But at times, it's like having a shortstop behind home plate. And that throw was big after the leadoff single. It means that Madsen faces only 3 in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Way to go, Mahler. Look at this right here. Oh, put on a clinic, Salvi.
June the 4th, Kauffman Stadium. Trevor Bauer to Lorenzo Cain. Gone. On top of the block wall and straightaway center field.
And that was on the road where Bauer pitches better. but he's got to get to him. He's been really good locating his fastball, setting up his curveball and his slider. Those have been extremely effective pitches. He's thrown a few changeups, but he's pitched his game tonight so far.
Trevor Bauer started tonight, retiring 10 of the first 11. Then Kane tripled, Hosmer singled, and now Bauer has retired the last 7. The Royals have had very few opportunities tonight. They have left 1 runner on base in the first 6 innings. On the other side, the Indians have had base runners all over the place, but Chris Young, Franklin Morales, and Ryan Madsen have pitched very well with men on base. And the Indians have left 7 on base. And if you were listening to the game on radio tonight and Denny Matthews had the call, he would say the Royals have made the most of the least and the Indians have made the least of the most. Brandon Moss has been busy in right field. Kane hits it right on the nose but out, and there's 1 down in the 7th.
Well, this is the reason Bauer's been getting our guys out tonight. He's executing, setting up his curveball. Fastball out of the middle, but that's a nice little fastball away he tried to pull. And there's the breaking ball again, keeping it out of the hitting zone. Good pitch there on the inner half. Another breaking ball down. So this is the difference between Bauer when he's good and then when he's not so good. He's throwing his fastball down the middle of the plate. So he's made some adjustments that have worked well, and mainly it's his curveball. It's been a good pitch, but he's setting it up with fastballs that are not exactly down the middle.
Aviles backhands a hot shot from Hosmer. So 2 hard hit balls, but out.
Stepping in for Kansas City, the designated.
He was a struggling pitcher coming into tonight. ERA was almost 7 over his previous 6 starts. But now in 6 2/3 innings, he's allowed 1 run, 3 hits. Pitch count is in very good shape. He's only thrown 75 pitches. And 1 out away from getting through 7. Kendrys Morales is on with 2 down.
53rd time now the Royals hitter has been plunked. That's the most. That's how you turn. See that ball coming at you, you turn your back towards the pitcher and look towards the backstop.
So Salvador Perez with 1 on, 2 out. Salvi is 0 for his last 13. It's dropped him down to 248. He did line out to right in the 2nd inning and grounded to second in the 5th. Michael Bourne comes up in center field, and Trevor Bauer goes 7. He's given up 1 run, 3 hits. Kelvin Herrera looks like he's coming on for the 7th.
League, busy night of baseball. Detroit losing again to Tampa. Kirk Caselli at it. Chicago leading Boston. Philadelphia one better than Toronto. Royals head up there for a game on Thursday. Pittsburgh trailing Minnesota. Our Mazda game break. And one of the best young pitching rotations in baseball. The Mets have it. Noah Syndergaard ends up having a perfect game. Couple of hits in the 7th inning to break that one up. Busy day, guys, of baseball. You showed David Murphy with the hugs before. David DeJesus joining him in a trade heading to the Angels. Jonathan Papelbon to Philadelphia. Shane Victorino also went to the Angels yesterday. And, of course, we'll see Troy Tulowitzki in Toronto with still a few days left before the deadline.
That was kind of a shocker. All that talk about Troy Tulowitzki going to New York, going to the Mets. I mean, it seemed like that trade would come up and has come up for 2 or 3 years, and he's on his way to Toronto.
Well, this is from some of the experts, quote-unquote experts we've been hearing. They're saying this is a very strange deadline deals this year we've been seeing. A lot of things that were unexpected.
Well, it looked like Kelvin Herrera was going to come on for the bottom of the 7th inning, but Ryan Madson only threw 8 pitches in the 6th. Franklin Morales is giving Johnny Cueto different options for how Cueto can compensate him for giving him his number 47. It doesn't have to be, you know, it doesn't have to have 10 diamonds on it, but I want it to be a nice watch.
Yep.
Right?
I'm sure. And Joel had him in his pregame show and in the interview when he asked him about it. He said that he'll figure out what he can get him. He'll get him a gift or something for giving him his jersey.
You know, matter of fact, there's a place right across the street from the hotel in Toronto that has really nice watches. Lorenzo Cain comes up a little short, and Jason Kipnis is on base again. My goodness. Kipnis at second base with 1 out. On base 4 times last night and now 3 times tonight. He's come to the plate 9 times in the first 2 games of the series, and he's been on base 7 times.
Yep, this is a solid hitter. He recognizes the pitch, and that was out over the middle of the plate. Didn't miss it. Lorenzo, nice try. Okay. Didn't think he had even a diving chance for it. Closed ground quickly on it, but couldn't get it.
You know, Kipnis spent some time last year on the disabled list with a strained right oblique. He's a left-hand batter, so that would be his front side. And that would be an injury I would think that, you know, you never really get over. If you do physically, maybe mentally, can I really cut it loose here, or am I going to pull that muscle again?
Well, maybe that's one of the reasons why he's learned how to stay within himself. He's one of the few Cleveland Indians hitters that doesn't overswing, puts the ball in play.
As a result, last year he had a down year. Batted just .240 last year. After a big year in 2013.
30th double, leads the American League.
0-2 on Lindor. Oh for 3 so far. Tried to bloop one out into shallow center field in the 5th inning, and Lorenzo Cain ran up and made a good play. Got him. Hard cutter in on the left-hand batter. Second strikeout for Madsen, 2 down in the 7th inning.
Cutter's been a pitch that he's used a lot in his last 4 or 5 outings. He didn't use it early in the season because he wasn't comfortable with it, but now he is, and it's been extremely effective. Opponent's only hitting 176 with runners in scoring position off of Madsen.
Dave Island goes out to chat with Madsen and Salvador Perez before Michael Brantley comes up. As we promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong Fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag KC Data Strong Fan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Thank you, Maggie, for sending in your picture. Looks like from the parking lot at Kauffman Stadium.
Great place to be. Before Royals games, fans get all excited.
A strike to Brantley. Brantley has only one at bat against Madsen. There is an open base, but on deck is Carlos Santana, who has one at bat against Madsen, and that was a home run. Hosmer, nice play to the bag to end the inning. That was a wicked hop.
Talk about runs saved. There's another one. That ball should have been in right field. A lot of first basemen don't have the hands to do that. Oz does. He wears the goal.
Sports and outdoors, right stuff, low price every day. By Jeep, find your summer of adventure with great deals at the Jeep Summer Clearance Event. And by Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. 1-1 tied to the 8th inning. The Royals have 1 run, 3 hits, 2 left. The Indians 1 run, 8 hits, and 8 left. And here we go. Later innings with Rios, Infante, and Dyson coming up.
Just the way you like it.
Rios has struck out and grounded out to second against Bauer, who is just making his 80th pitch right here. Almost threw it to the backstop. How about that? No more than 14 pitches in an inning tonight.
And when you're leading the American League in walks and you don't have a walk in this game, you're going good. Showed you why he's dealing against the Royals, as he's pitching his game tonight. When good pitching's on, a guy with his kind of stuff can make it tough. But the Royals are in the time of the game where they like to score runs.
Urshela, off balance throw, good play, got Rios. Really showing off his arm there on a wrong foot play. 1 down.
come and get it. Ball took a little funny hop on him. Was able to get it over there to Santana in time. Good fielder.
Omar Infante deep into left field. That ball is off the top of the wall and it stays in. Infante missed a home run by a couple of feet. He's going to try for 3 and he's in with a triple.
Oh, that was nice. He got that off-speed pitch, and not many mistakes by Bauer tonight, and almost drove it out of here. Couple of feet shy, ran hard all the way, and is able to get a triple. Actually, that wasn't a hanger exactly. That was in the lower part of the zone. That's a great swing. I guess it maybe was about like 4 more feet, but the ball hit off the top of that scoreboard, and it just died on the wall there, and gave Infante a chance to get to third base. 4th triple. Infield is in. Royals a chance to go ahead.
Dyson didn't mean to go around, and as we learned during the last homestand, that would not have been a home run because it did not hit the top of the fence. It hit the scoreboard portion of the wall. So if that ball had continued to have overspin and go over the wall, that would not have been a home run. Right?
Well, you're right.
Two on Dyson, so he's swung at 2 pitches that have not been strikes. He's put himself in the hole. 0-2. Now if it hits the yellow stripe and goes over, it's a home run. Good block by Perez. 1-2 on Dyson.
That was a good block. We talked about the wild pitches. He leads his team with 7. The Royals will take a run any way they want to give it. This one was a good opportunity here, but nice job of squaring it up on the chest protector.
Dyson lays off the pitch. 2-2.
He's got a good hammer tonight. That's some good discipline right there to lay off of that. Mostly down with 2 strikes. Perez obviously very good at blocking the ball, so Bauer can throw that curveball with conviction. Just throw it, not worry about it going to the backstop.
Close, but inside. 3-2.
And that's a really good spot by Bauer. And we've watched Dyson. We saw him off of Garrett Cole, one of the best pitchers in baseball. A high fastball, tough situation late in the game, and he knocked in the go-ahead run with a high fastball.
This is only the 2nd at-bat all night for the Royals with a runner in scoring position. And Dyson comes back from 0-2 to take a walk.
First one of the night for Bauer.
For the Royals, shortstop Alcides Escobar.
So that has Terry Francona pacing in the Indians dugout, looking at, I'm sure, a sheet of his relievers, thinking about who he might loosen up. Although Bauer's just at 90 pitches, but managers are always looking 3-4 batters down the road. Now, Alcides Escobar had really good numbers against Bauer before tonight, 5 for 11. But tonight he is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, and twice, talking about that good curveball, twice Bauer has struck him out with that pitch.
Well, try to lay off that best you can. Look early in the count, get something airborne, pick a sac fly, anything. Get that run home. Pretty interesting what they've got going on there. The Royals have some action players on the field right there, out on the bases. Infante runs well, so does Dyson at first. Escobar's tough to double up. He's just grounded into 6th this year. Before he got in there, Escobar wanted Jersley to run through the signs again.
Infante was not coming down the line. Not a bad idea.
No, we've seen some nice safety squeezes here this year, where that, the third base runner, he comes down the line, but he's not crashing when the guy winds up. He's not just coming home. He's kind of reads that bunt. They call that a safety squeeze.
And you put something else in the back of Bauer's mind.
That's right. So maybe he buys himself a fastball.
Ooh, almost threw one into the crowd.
Dyson's been almost perfect this year in steals.
I don't know if he's going, but he wants Bauer to think that he's going with a lead like that. That's the third time he's thrown over there.
And sometimes a guy will get out there and get the maximum lead. They call that a one-way lead. It means you're not going to think about stealing, but you're getting as far off as you can to get back with a step and a dive.
Not running. 1-1 on Escobar. Escobar, you know, we say sometimes he took a fastball swing on a changeup. That time he looked like he took a curveball swing on a fastball, like he was expecting off speed.
Dyson and Escobar taking some funny swings. Tells me they're not picking it up, and Bauer having his best stuff, maybe best stuff of the year.
Dyson not running. And the Royals need to hurry, and the Indians turn a double play with Dyson and Escobar on the bases. To the top of the 8th. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre, Rex Hudler, Joel Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery at Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio, with Mr. Cleveland, our producer Brian Shapiro, director Steve Kurtenbach, our associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, Dave Holtzman. I really thought Alcides Escobar had the right idea, not trying to overswing against Trevor Bauer, who had given him a bad time. Just hit a little ground ball to the right side. With his speed and Dyson's speed, it was unlikely that they'd be able to turn the double play. You get Infante down from third, but he hit it too hard and he hit it right to Aviles.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it either, but maybe the luck changed a little bit by the Indians there. But they got to try to face this guy who's been just as good as every other reliever Ned's brought out there tonight. Maybe the best.
Middle of the order coming up. And Wade Davis, 1 pitch, 1 out. Carlos Santana is down. Ned got 2 innings out of Ryan Madsen for the 3rd time this year. And now Wade Davis, Santana, Moss, Urshela coming up.
You know, Madsen did a nice job. I was talking to a few scouts that are here tonight, and they were talking about, had Ned Yost not kept Ryan Madsen, there was a slew of teams that were ready to jump on him. And Ned knew it. He said, you know, I couldn't let Madsen go. Madsen turning in another nice job, and he passes that baton on to Wade Davis, who's got exceptional stuff. Fastball, cutter, curveball.
You know, that seems like an easy move now, but you know, let's go back to spring training and let's consider why that was a difficult decision for the Royals. Tim Collins was done for the year with Tommy John surgery. The Royals were looking at Brandon Finnegan as being a starter. Franklin Morales was a non-roster invitee and really didn't have a great spring. So it was down to Ryan Madsen or Brian Flynn, the lefty the Royals got from the Marlins in the deal for Aaron Crow. And then Flynn ended up getting hurt early this year. So you think, well, man, the Royals had to keep Ryan Madsen. But, you know, there wasn't much coverage in the bullpen. The Royals have a lot of righties that can get lefties out. But at the time, it was a tough decision. And you know, the Royals hit the jackpot.
Yeah, Hoach wasn't going to start with the big club anyway.
1-2 on Brandon Moss. He either gets a hit or he strikes out. So that's Wade Davis.
Let's go a couple of high fastballs. When you set up that big curve he's got. Let's see. It comes out of the same plane as a fastball. Might fool him. Let's see it. Keep it down. There it is.
Shattered bat, and Escobar over on the right side of second base gets Moss 2 down.
Good focus on the barehander coming in. They don't see many curveballs tie up guys and break their bats in half like that. That just did. But that's a beautiful pitch. And it did exactly that. It tied him up. A jam sandwich on a curveball.
And if you need a toothpick to get part of the sandwich out of your teeth, there was a few of those flying around.
That's right. Splinters.
6 pitches, 2 outs for Wade Davis. And now the rookie Giovanni Urshela, 1 for 3. He's hit in 7 straight games. Chris Young went 4 2/3. He gave up 1 run. Morales got the final out of the 5th. Madsen went 2, and now Davis in the 8th. The Wade Davis experience. Might be better off having never faced him before.
Yep.
See ball and hit ball. You see him 3 or 4 times, and you go to the plate thinking, yikes.
Yeah, you said the key thing, thinking. You know, when you don't face a guy before, you're just going to look for the ball. That's a good point.
Cedarstrom, the home plate umpire. Who shows he's fine.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
Yeah, he's telling Sal, come on, man.
With guns like that, you kidding me?
I'm tough.
Second big league season for Gary Cedarstrom. That's not his first foul ball. Eric Hosmer is there, and that's the inning. 10 pitches. Wade Davis gets the Indians in order in the bottom of the 8th inning. To the 9th, Mike Moustakas, Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer. If anybody gets on, Kendrys Morales.
Time to send Bauer to the show.
Don't miss Fox Sports Live as they bring you the news and highlights from around Major League Baseball, plus the latest from the entire world of sports. Some more trades went down today. Fox Sports Live is tonight only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Trevor Bauer has tied his season high with 8 innings. It's the second time he's done that this year. So his next out will be a new season high. Outside to Mike Moustakas.
He had that outing versus the Houston Astros back on the 8th of this month, and he didn't walk a batter.
So there's the common denominator. Only 1 walk tonight. And he threw 108 pitches in that game against the Astros. Tonight he only needed 93 pitches to get through 8 innings.
He's executing well, also facing an aggressive offense that puts the ball in play.
2-1 on Moustakas.
If Bauer can find consistency every time out, of course, it's hard for a guy to have his best stuff every time out. I mean, if he, a majority of the time, if he can get his command out there like he's shown tonight, this guy's got a chance to be a top of the rotation guy. But you look at his road and home splits, you scratch your head and say, wow.
2-2.
92 on the high fastball. Who sees what they're giving him out there? Dead pull. One guy on the left side, and he's playing in the shortstop pull area.
Full count.
It's 2-seamer Bauer wanted there. Who said no? That's a ball. Tried to pull it back over, but too bad. Just missed it.
Carlos Santana grabs it with 2 hands. Follow live Royals baseball with MLB.com at bat on your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected to the Royals all season wherever you are with the MLB.TV Game of the Day. In-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, and more. It's the #1 app for live baseball. Herrera and Holland. Herrera most likely if the Royals do not score here. Holland if they do. The Royals have 4 hits against Trevor Bauer. 2 of those hits are triples. Lorenzo Cain tripled in the second inning on a ball that went in and out of Brandon Moss's glove in right field. And then he scored the 1 Royals run. And now Bauer has him down, no balls, 2 strikes.
A couple of curveballs. A little bit leery of throwing Lorenzo Cain a fastball. This is what he did the last time he saw the fastball. Moss almost made a outstanding running catch.
Well hit and through Aviles. And Cain goes down, rounding first base. It's the 3rd hard hit ball for Cain. It's an error on Aviles. Cain is 1 for 4. He could easily be 3 for 4 tonight, and the go-ahead run is on with 1 out.
Ooh, yeah, we know what happens sometimes when the opponents make a mistake. The Royals try to capitalize and beat him. Good job on the breaking ball. Waited nicely for it. Ball took some tricky hops on Aviles. Got through the wickets. Lorenzo Cain went down at first base and almost looked like he twisted his ankle, but fortunately not, because he was thinking about going 2. You saw that ball kick not too far from Aviles.
Royals are without a stolen base tonight. The Indians have 6. They're 6 out of 7. Make that 6 out of 8 in stolen base attempts. Cain not running. Hosmer takes a fastball for a strike. Hosmer has 2 hits. Cain with 18 on the year, and that makes him 3rd in the league.
Haas like to have that fastball back. Don't know if he'll give it to him now. His curveball's been really good tonight. Although at 103 pitches, we'll see if he has a command of it.
Cain was not running. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Perez impressive tonight. Both Perez's. Good base runner, good base stealer at first base. Pitcher knows it, wants to get the ball home quickly to the catcher. Hitters know the fastball could be coming. He took 1, didn't want to take another one. Puts out over the plate.
and 2 on Hosmer.
Good rip with that high fastball. Couldn't quite catch up to it. One and 2 count. As good as Bauer's curveball's been, could be a good pitch to go on. We'll see.
His last several have been in the dirt, too.
Yeah, right. Don't take a shot. I don't think you can throw him out. It's in the dirt.
Not running. And it was in the dirt. Hosmer lays off it. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Both catchers tonight on these teams, Roberto Perez and Salvador Perez, doing a great job and putting on a clinic of how you keep the ball in front of you. And that takes a lot of work and a lot of practice. A lot of guys, if you don't work at that, that ball kicks off to the side, can cost you a game, especially tied up like this one is.
Cain runs. It's a fastball. Cain is gunned down by Perez.
taking pride. Perez having a night behind the plate for Bauer. 33.3% of runners coming into this one. Just got off a really good throw indoors, able to tag him in the helmet before his hand got in there.
And then Hosmer on a 3-2 pitch. Gone, and the Royals take the lead in the 9th inning. Eric Hosmer owns the Cleveland Indians. At least this year he does. He has 2 home runs in this series, and he has driven in 6 in the first 2 games. It is our Jeep drive of the game.
At one too many curveballs. Hosmer was able to wait on it, and he just powdered it with topspin on it. Had enough to get it over that 325 wall in right field, and Bauer has got to be saying, you got to be kidding me. I execute a good curveball with 2 strikes on the guy, and he takes me deep. Oh, what a nice stroke by Haas on the breaking ball. And it wasn't one of those belt-high hangers. That ball, again, was down below the knees, and he was able to stay with it. Yeah, the Royals fans here at Progressive Field letting out that howl, that woo! Way to go, Haas.
He has 19 RBIs against the Indians this year. Royals record, by the way, is 20. Mike Sweeney had 20 RBIs against Cleveland in 2001. Hosmer has 19, and we still have 8 more games with the Indians after tonight.
Oh, he could put that record out of sight. Stay hot.
Most home runs and most RBIs for Hosmer against any one team. On the ground to Santana. He'll take it to the bag, and that is the inning. Right after Lorenzo Cain gets thrown out, and the momentum on the Cleveland side, Eric Hosmer says, we'll take it back. 2-1 KC. Home run to put the Royals in front. Eric Hosmer saved a run with a pick at first base, and like we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite.
I'll say that this is a pick and grin right here. Short hop. Actually, it was a long hop, and he's so soft with his hands, and he's able to measure that perfectly with his swipe. Beautiful. On both sides of the ball, and, you know, this is a guy that's just in fuego right now. You're looking for a bus driver tonight? Haas is driving. Clutch, 2-strike home run on Bauer's curve, and he can't believe it. Yeah. Haas is a beast.
Greg Holland in the bottom of the 9th inning, going for his 22nd save. He gets the lower third of the Indians order, beginning with Roberto Perez. Out of 24 and save opportunities.
Now, opponents are hitting 211. That's pretty good. You know, he's giving up his share of hits. But look, compared to the other relievers, they're all so good. Sometimes you go, wow, well, Holland maybe has a little bit higher number, higher ERA. Yeah, but you know what, though? He's been efficient. He's doing the job, and he's only blown 3 this year. And he's in every one of those, they've come back with 1. Good slider. Fastball.
Up the middle, Infante to Escobar. Unbelievable! Are you kidding me? No way you just whipped that out in a 1-run game in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Infante and Escobar have a nice chemistry going up the middle. And when you play together for so many games, this is what happens. When you got an arm like that, look at that perfect timing. And there was no time taken in between. Look, he flips it right there, 1001, and he's over there in 1002. It's beautiful. What a play, and that'll energize the entire team. And also, the crowd here. Again, you hear a whoa.
I mean, you're thinking leadoff man on, we got something going, and the Royals just little 4-6-3 out at first base.
I mean, it's a little Harlem Globetrotter trick right there. I thought Infante was going to try a jump spin throw. You know, a little jumper and throw it over the top, but no, he says, I got other things. We got a shortstop with one of the greatest arms in baseball. Energizes the entire. Look at
Johnny Cueto, man.
He says, oh, I love it.
2-1 on Michael Bourne. Well, Cueto, he saw a little bit of the Royals defense when Cincinnati was in Kansas City. I'm sure he's heard about it. And look at him, man. Give me the ball right now. He doesn't want to wait until Friday. 3-1 on Bourne.
Infante's defense has been spectacular. As good as everybody else's. He makes those plays look so easy, especially how many backhands have we seen him grab. He don't miss those.
And now Bourne walks.
That's the last guy you want to put on. He's got good speed.
Coming up after the game, Boulevard Royals Live with Joel and Monty. And if the Royals can hang on tonight and win this game, there will be much discussion about the play that was responsible for the first out of this inning. The Royals still need 2 more. Mike Aviles takes a fastball at 94, 0 for 2 with a walk tonight.
You know, and if Eric Hosmer on that great Ole pick, if he doesn't make that play, people go, oh, well, it's a tough hop, good try. But that play there saved a run. The defense continues nightly to save runs for their pitching staff.
Yes, he did. 0-2.
You know, we talk about the runs that the Royals get late in games and their 2-strike, 2-out approach, and they break the opponent's back. Defensive plays like that can zap the morale of the opponents as well.
And a chance for 2. Step on the bag, ball game over. The game ends on a double play started by Omar Infante. The inning began with the defensive play of the year started by Omar Infante. Eric Hosmer puts the Royals in front with a home run in the top of the 9th inning. And the Royals are now a season high 23 games above 500. They have now won 16 of their last 21 games. Pitching, defense, and timely hitting. And the Royals win 2-1.
Call the cops for sure. Ned Yost with a big grin. Infante. Whoa, what a play. Volquez says, wow, you guys are as good as they say you are. Oh, fantastic display of a championship caliber team that wins games close like that. With that type of defense, that focus to detail. Beautifully done.
Here's the game winner, Eric Hosmer. One pitch after Lorenzo Cain was caught stealing. 2 outs, nobody on. That was a 3-2 to Hosmer.
And if you look at the catcher, Perez, he's going to catch that ball backhanded on the ground. So it's a great pitch. Really, Bauer's like, wow, these guys are good. I just executed a great pitch. And Bauer pitched a heck of a game. That's the best game, one of the best he's thrown all year.
And Hosmer's down on the field with Joe Goldberg. Take it away, baby.
Oh, you just beat me to the punch. He said, take it away, baby. All right, Eric Hosmer, second straight night, 6 RBIs in the last 2 games. Take us through that 9th inning there. Bauer was really pitching well. What were you able to do?
Yeah, he had his stuff working tonight. He was throwing it for strikes and really mixing it up well. And, I just wanted to say, see a ball over the plate and, fight it off if it's close. And, he left one over the plate and put a good swing on it.
What does it say about this team? You know all about this team, but on a night where they had so many base runners, yet they're struggling, and you guys find the way to win.
Yeah, that's what good teams do. When we're off on certain nights, we find certain ways to win late in the game. And, we were trying with our legs. We were trying all different types of ways, and it didn't work out. But luckily enough, we got a big swing there at the end, and it worked out for us. All
right, 2 more things. As I was coming down to the field, the play with Escobar and Infante, and their radio announcer, Tom Hamilton, says, wow, 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 and you wonder why the Royals have the best record in the American League.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I almost didn't catch it because I was saying wow myself, and these guys never seem to amaze you, and, Esky, Kane, someone different every night.
Finally, you got the Cueto trade. He joined you today. Zobrist will join you on Thursday. How nice is that in the clubhouse when you see yet more additions to this great group?
It's nice, real nice, especially guys with postseason experience, and Ben's going to be a guy that can help us out a lot. He plays each position well, so we look forward to having him.
Way to go, baby.
Thank you, baby.
There it is. Knew it was coming, Ryan. You beat me to the punch, or I was going to do it. I asked Haas about that earlier with his little response last night. He said, hey, come on, man. We're all family. All's good.
Oh, man, what a night. A lot of fans here tonight. And a thrilling finish.